So I am back with Funky Blues. He's 2 years old and a couple months, and we're just kind of working on the best way to prepare our horses for their future and help them to. The whole point of everything we're doing is feeling safe, and then having them understand how to use their body in a different way that they would want to in nature. So we talk about like natural horsemanship. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't like that term because it's, nothing that we're doing is natural to horses. Well, correct. There's a lot of things that we're doing to bridge the gap from living with us in a domesticated world versus a wild world. But what the important thing is that we help them learn in a way that they understand, a natural way that they understand. So once we take our techniques and what we're looking to do in life with our horses, and we bridge that, and we have a translator. We're the translator, right? This is the biggest key to anybody who's watching this video on horses, is that the way that we translate things to our horses needs to be in a way that they understand. So instead of us translating English to them, we want them to translate horse to us so we can understand what they need. So we need to learn their language. They don't need to learn our language. The more that we can learn their language, then we can incorporate what we're doing with them in fun ways that helps them also learn. So we're actually bridging the gap between the horse language and the human language, and we're creating our own dialect that's going to then help us both understand each other. So as I go through with Blue here, going to start with the tarp today now. So we did the ball yesterday with him, and just want him to. So we're adding in audio or sound to him. So we look at different horses. Are they worried by visual stimulus, audio stimulus, or physical contact stimulus? So he kind of has a bit of all three. So I want to be able to take this tarp and first off just see if he gets bothered by this at all. So you see he's a step back. So I'm going to keep doing this until he's not really worried about it. I might just have him start to follow me around. Just curious about it. Good. So, see how he's a little sticky just following me around? So I want him to not feel that stickiness. I want to just kind of roll around. Because one thing I thought this was kind of a cool compliment that I got yesterday. I was working with a client that's a dressage rider family and Grand Prix jumpers, and she said it's amazing by just doing the groundwork and teaching the horse how to use themselves before we get on them, is cutting her training down in half, and she's getting better results because we can do so much more on the ground with our horses to teach them how to use themselves than we can under saddle. It's our job to teach them how to use their body in a way that we need to, because in nature they don't really care about bending the rib cage, moving the inside hip, making sure the shoulders are correct, making sure that the back is correct, that the neck is correct, all that stuff. They don't really care about any of that for survival. So that's all things that we want to do to get the most out of our horse. Just like us as humans, we can walk along and we can be fine if you don't exercise. If you eat healthy, you can just be fine this way for the most part. But if you want to be an elite athlete, or you want to do things, you want to be able to go hiking or do other things, you need to work on the muscles and the way to use your body, whether that be bending down correctly, backing up, moving laterally. All those things are going to come into play. So one thing to really think about when we're working with our horses, it's the same with us, is that they don't by nature need to do any things that we're asking them to do. We're asking them to trust us. We're asking them to use their body, so when we get on their back, teach them how to use it in a way that's going to benefit us so they stay safe and they don't feel like they have to go into a flight mode. So we're going to take this tarp now, and I'm just going to bring it up to him and kind of let him check it out. So I might just put it on the ground. You can see he gets worried right away, and I'll just see, can he come up to it? What I might do is I might pick that tarp back up. Good job. just see if I can walk up to him. So you see how worried he gets that? So I just want to ask him to keep his eye on me, start to trust. So I'll meet him halfway. And then I'll take it away. So the minute, the second that he goes to be curious about it, I want to give him that release. So I'm going to ask him to come check it out again. Remember, he's doing everything in his power that he should be doing correctly. So when we are like, oh my God, he's just so nervous at this or nervous at that, he's just trying to survive. That's it. Just trying to survive. Good. So see how since I bring that away from him and then go back up to him? Good. So now he's curious. He wants to come up and check it out a little bit more. He just has to make sure it's not anything that's going to hurt him. And this is a man-made deal here, so it's not something. He's lived outside most of his life, coming from a breeding farm at Spike Coast, and so he's very comfortable with nature. But when we start to incorporate man-made things, which are going to be part of his life as a performance horse, then we want to set him up for success if we can. Good boy. So now what I might do is come up and say, can I pet him here? And can I bring this up at the same time? Or within, right afterwards. Can I pet him here? And can I come back to his shoulder and have this closer? And I'm having a hand on him right now for energy, so he feels the conduction or the connection of my energy and this tarp, that he's starting to bridge the gap, that this tarp's not going to hurt him because it's part of me. All this tarp is right now is an extension of me as we teach this. So I want to come back to here, touch him here. I might just bring the tarp up and just touch him with it and then release it. So I touch him very, very lightly with it. So I'm just going to touch and release. But see, my hand stays on him because I want him to know that I'm here and I've got his back. So good. So now I might just take this and go, how does he feel if I just put this here? So the one thing we talked about yesterday is that I'm watching with him is that he's a horse that goes into freeze status and then he'll go into flight status. So, but the difference is now that I'm looking at him is I'm not feeling him get really clinchy and just go into like a freeze position. So as I do this, I want to just go, hey, can I just pet you with this? Can I use this as a petting device? And then release it. And use this as a petting device again. So remember, everything that we use with our horses is really meant to educate them on the different uses of that. Whether it's a tarp or a flag or anything that we're using, if I want to actually ask them to send away with this tarp, I should be able to do the same thing. But before we can use anything, any tool, they have to know what the tool is before we use it. They have to understand the concept of the different portions of that tool, if you will. So if I have a flag and I want to have it waving over here as indirect pressure, he understands that tool. If I put it on his back, he understands that he doesn't have to be worried. If I ask him to move the right shoulder, the left shoulder, put with direct pressure, he'll know that. So if I just go up and I start asking him to move away from something, whether it's a flag or anything, say that he's the first time I've worked with him and I come in here with a flag and I just start waving it around, he's automatically going to be scared of it. So what I want to do is show him first that he doesn't have to be worried about that because it's just part of me. So now we're getting the lick and chew. I love that. So I'm going to come back up here. So I might take this tarp now and just go, can I rub it on his body? Good boy. Good boy, and then come back off. So now, his side that gets him really nervous is his right side. So, but the more he's understanding, like we did the ball yesterday, so the more that he's understanding things, is that I can come up to him with this on this side and go, hey, you don't have to worry on this side either. And just touch and release. Same kind of concept. So if he wants to check it out, I'm going to let him check it out on this side. Good. Now I'll come back to here. Good boy. Let him check it out on this eye, on his right eye. Good. And release. So now I'm going to come up and just pet him. And I just want to pet him here and go, hey, are you okay if I touch you with this? Good. Good. Oh, good. He came back to it. Wants to check it out again. He's just trying to process this. So I'm going to ask him to come forward. Good boy. I like how the head lowered as he came forward. Those are all things that we're looking at as signs of relaxation with our horse when we introduce him to new things. So now I'm going to touch him. Good. Release. Good boy. Touch him. Release. Touch him. Hold it on there. Maybe we'll rub him a little bit, like it's our hand rubbing him. And release. So as we go through this, the biggest thing to learn from today is to understand that we're building the trust with him, and you do it in small increments, and then when you get to that next phase, it doesn't phase him. Think about jumping, dressage. You go through levels. So like with dressage, you go through, intro and then you go through training, 1, 2, 3, first 1, 2, 3, second 1, 2, 3, third 1, 2, 3, fourth 1, 2, 3, Prix St. George, I1, I2, then the Grand Prix, and then the Grand Prix Special. So by the time you get to the Grand Prix Special, your horse pretty much knows what their job is at that level. You don't go from first level to the Grand Prix. Same thing with jumping, is even if you watch Grand Prix jumpers in the warm-up, is that they don't go into the warm-up and just start at Grand Prix height. They start off much smaller and they build their way up. And when you start to evolve a horse, a jumping horse, is that the way you should do it is not just go out there and jump big stuff. You should get that horse to use their body correctly, and then that next step is natural for them. So same thing as we're working with these guys, is every step we make sure that we dot that I and cross that T, so the next step is very automatic for them, and they understand the concept. So everything that we're doing on the ground that we can see on the ground is so that when we present it under saddle and we bridge it correctly, then our horses have that concept, and when we get on them, life is much easier because we can see things on the ground that we can't see under saddle. We can move the shoulder, we can move the hind, we can teach them about different pressures on the ground and see it, so then when we get under saddle, they already understand that concept. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you have, make sure to check out our online university, naturalhorsemanship.com, and hit that subscribe button if you like this for more content. Take care and have a wonderful day.